Hey, what's up guys? Nils here and welcome back to another video. So following the previous video where we pretty much made a passive tier list that's updated, we can now go ahead and talk a little bit about a video that I think it's kind of pointless, but it has been requested by so many different people. So we're going to talk a little bit about different passive combinations that work well with each other and for passives that don't work with each other. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and make you a list of every single passive and its combinations. So instead, I'm going to tell you why certain stuff don't work, and then you're going to be able to tell yourselves what does work in your own situation, because obviously you can find yourself in multiple scenarios. So let's jump right here into this, I guess, Photoshop topic. And let's start with God, right? Considering God is like the best passive in the game right now, I guess we can pretty much start there and talk a little bit about it. Now, the key elements on God that pretty much affect what works and what doesn't work with it are the following: the 50% attack speed and the -2 hits for your ultimate. Now, these are what make the unit work and not work paired with other passives. And I'm going to tell you which passives basically do not work. Now, starting off, obviously, Sorcerer, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Sorcerer, while a very good passive, it has issues in itself with that -4 hits to ultimate. And if you put that on top of these -2 hits from God, you already have a -6 hit ultimate. So your unit will most likely be permanently ult-locked unless you're using something like Indra Burst from Flame City, which I doubt people do. So you can understand why Sorcerer wouldn't work. You also have the extra attack speed, so your unit would attack very fast regardless. And yeah, Sorcerer is a big no-no. Similarly, Ghostly, because we already have this 50% attack speed and then 50% more from Ghostly, and that -2 hit multiplier, it would most likely cause your unit to be ult-locked. So that's the situation that you want to avoid at all costs. It's going to be pretty bad. And lastly, I think Time Lord doesn't pair with God that well either. I don't think it's as bad as Ghostly or Sorcerer, but the issue is that I think the idea behind Time Lord and God are the exact opposite. Like, more so now that God has been buffed to do 80% more ultimate damage. I think it's like the principle of like you're just getting your ultimates out doesn't pair well with Time Lord, which gives you 5 extra hits. Now, I know that the attack speed is obviously there to make up for it, but I think Time Lord is not a good passive to pair with God. And then similarly, like every other passive that I have here does work well with God. Ace, obviously, a raw damage increase, 100% critical strike chance on your ultimates. Like, your ultimates are gonna hit like an absolute truck. And then we have tactical, raw damage increase again. Same thing for Blessing. Same thing for Monster, has a slight attack speed increase as well, but it's honestly not that big of an issue. But it's manageable, and that like flat damage increase that Monster gives you on top of the God makes it an insane combination. I think Ace might be competitive with Monster on top of God, because ultimates just like hard carry the passive right now, and that's why it's just the best. And Mercenary, like again, it's just like so much raw damage increase, ultimate damage increase as well, and the 20% attack speed that it has honestly doesn't really affect God to cause any issues with getting ult-locked. Now, next up, I guess we can talk about Sorcerer. Sorcerer, as I said, it has its problems on its own. So quite similarly, like God wouldn't work out with Sorcerer. Ghostly wouldn't work out either. And I think Time Lord may be decent. I think it's still gonna cause you trouble with like getting your unit ult-locked, because pretty much you make up for the loss of the attack counts from Sorcerer with +5 from Time Lord, but with all of the attack speed, you are most likely gonna get ult-locked again, so it's not something you want. And yeah, it's pretty much like a cycle. Like, if you just cycle again with those units, like Ghostly, at high attack speed, it's not gonna pair with God, it's not gonna pair with Sorcerer, it's not gonna pair with Time Lord. Like, when you have a passive that gives you -2 ultimate counter, or gives you very high amounts of attack speed, you wanna pair it with a damage passive, and ideally with Ace. I think Ace is just flat out the best passive to combine them with. Now, Mercenary in some cases might test out better. It's a very like passive dependent. Like God, I'm pretty sure that Ace tests more because it's very ultimate oriented instead of like just attack speed oriented. So God would be better. God would be better off with Ace than Mercenary, and I think Sorcerer too would probably be better off with Ace than Mercenary. Like that 20% attack speed is not going to help Sorcerer either. And honestly, I think if Darab made Sorcerer 3 to have -3 hits to ultimate, that would help the passive more than what it is now, because right now it really does harm 6-hit units. It does make them ult lock, which is very, very bad. And then again, Time Lord, pretty much the same thing. Like just raw attack speed. You could pair it with Ace, you could pair it with a whole bunch of stuff, but you don't want to pair it with any of these. I think that's bad. God isn't that bad. I think it's not that big of a deal to use God on top of Time Lord, but it's just not good. It's not as bad as Ghostly or Sorcerer though. Like these two units, I think they are horrible with Time Lord. God is kind of fine. So yeah, hopefully you guys have kind of gotten the point of how things like mesh with each other and why some are good and why some are bad. So you can like judge accordingly to your decisions. And pretty much like even if you see it from the other way around, if you have like a passive that gives you like raw damage increase like monster or something, and you are wondering what do I pair the passive with, just go ahead, check the tier list and just follow the tier list accordingly. Just keep in mind that these specifications that we just like talk about, I don't know if specifications are the word, I guess these parameters that we just talked about in this video are always put in use, and then just follow the tier list. That's pretty much all what it comes down to. Like high base damage passive paired very well with Ace or attack speed. That's pretty much the rule of thumb. It's probably going to be paired with God obviously as well. If you have like monster God, it's going to be a monstrous of a unit. But Ace does seem to be performing very well with God right now, just because of how strong like the ultimates are, considering God is pretty much revolving around ultimates. And yeah, that's kind of how the entire spec functions. Mercenary still remains a great passive even after the nerfs, and it's also a very versatile passive. Like it doesn't have that big of an attack speed increase, so you can pair Mercenary with literally anything and it's gonna give you good results. But in situations like God, Ace is better. But I think for Monster or for Time Lord, Mercenary is probably gonna be better than Ace. So if you do happen to have one of them, definitely try to get the Mercenary, which is also a lot easier than getting Ace. And I don't know, I always thought that he was gonna nerf the chance to hatch Mercenary, but instead he actually ended up nerfing the damage of Mercenary. I guess both work, but I think he can just go ahead and buff Mercenary again to where it was and just put it down to a little bit lower, maybe like 0.27 or something, and put like Blessing back to 0.5. Something like that would work. But anyway guys, regardless, that was pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you have some answers now as to how things work, and it's pretty clear and obvious. Anyway, as always, if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to click the like and subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys all on the next one. Take care.